An injury to Chris Woakes leaves England captain Joe Root with a headache ahead of the fifth Ashes Test at Sydney. Woakes has been diagnosed with a minor side injury. In his absence, Mason Crane will make his Test debut, with Moeen Ali receiving a reprieve. Woakes may not have pulled up too many trees in this series, with 10 wickets at 50 and a batting average of just 16. But it is his overs, as much as his runs and wickets, that England will miss most. The decision to both retain Moeen and give a debut to Crane leaves Root with just 3 seamers on what is expected to be a superb batting wicket. One of them, Tom Curran, has played just a single Test, and the other two, James Anderson and Stuart Broad, are at breaking point after a grueling series. The 35-year-old Anderson admitted in his newspaper column on Tuesday that the crippling pain in his joints from bowling long spells makes it hard even to brush his teeth or put on a t-shirt. Ashes' 4th Test in pictures. 40 show all Ashes' 4th Test in pictures. 140th day 1/88. People attended the first day's play at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Getty. 240th day 1. Tom Curran reacts to his near miss after dismissing David Warner on a no-ball. Getty. 340th day 1. Chris Woakes celebrates taking the wicket of Cameron Bancroft. Getty. 440th day 1. David Warner celebrates reaching his century. Getty. 540th day 1. David Warner celebrates scoring a century against England. Getty. 640th day 1. Warner salutes the crowd as he leaves the field having made 103. Getty. 740th day 1. Stuart Broad celebrates after dismissing Usman Khawaja. Getty. 840th day 1. Steve Smith took little time to race to his half-century. Getty. 940th day 1. Stuart Broad appeals for the wicket of Sean Marsh on his very first ball. Getty. 1040th day 1. Marsh was saved on review by an umpire's call. Getty. 1140th day 2. Australia's Steve Smith drops a catch from England batsman Alistair Cook on the second day of the 4th Ashes Test match at the MCG in Melbourne AFP. Getty. 1240th day 2. Stuart Broad successfully appeals for LBW against Jackson Bird. Getty. 1340th day 2. Alistair Cook registered his highest score of the Ashes tour at the MCG. Getty. 1440th day 2. Alistair Cook celebrates reaching his century on the second day of the 4th Test against Australia. Getty. 1540th day 3. Josh Hazlewood celebrates dismissing Joe Root for 61. Getty. 1640th day 3. Joe Root hooks Josh Hazlewood to Nathan Lyon. Getty. 1740th day 3. David Malin made just 14 before being trapped LBW by Josh Hazlewood. Getty. 1840th day 3. Johnny Bairstow is caught behind by Tim Paine off Nathan Lyon. Getty. 1940th day 3. Moeen Ali edges Nathan Lyon to Sean Marsh for 20. Getty. 2040th day 3. Pat Cummins celebrates dismissing Chris Woakes for 26. Getty. 2140th day 3. Tom Curran is struck by the first ball he faces before getting out for just 4. Getty. 2240th day 3. Stuart Broad provided strong support for Alistair Cook to help him reach his double century. Getty. 2340th day 3. Stuart Broad celebrates reaching his half-century. Getty. 2440th day 3. Steve Smith dropped Alistair Cook twice during the first innings. Getty. 2540th day 3. Alistair Cook celebrates reaching his double century on day 3 of the 4th Test. Getty. 2640th day 3. The Barmy Army applaud Alistair Cook's double century at the MCG. Getty. 2740th day 4. Pat Cummins dismissed James Anderson with the first ball of the day to end England's innings. Getty. 2840th day 4. Alistair Cook was left stranded on 244 after batting for the entire England innings. Getty. 29/40 day 4 Cameron Bancroft is dismissed by Chris Woakes. Getty. 30/40 day 4 James Anderson celebrates dismissing Usman Khawaja. Getty. 31/40 day 4 James Anderson and Joe Root spent the most time looking after the ball. Getty. 32/40 day 4 Australian media accused James Anderson of ball tampering during the fourth day of the fourth test. Getty. 33/40 day 4 James Anderson will not face any action over the allegations. Getty. 34/40 day 5 Joe Root got the ball rolling on day 5 with the wicket of David Warner for 86 runs. Getty Images. 35/40 day 5 Johnny Bairstow celebrates after dismissing Sean Marsh for 4 off the bowling of Stuart Broad. Getty Images. 36/40 day 5 Steve Smith was imperious at the crease again however and scored yet another century. Getty Images. 37/40 day 5 Steve Smith finished on 102 not out as the draw was confirmed. AFP. Getty Images. 38/40 day 5 Steve Smith and Joe Root shook hands on the result that neither side wanted as England avoided a 5-0 whitewash. Getty Images. 39/40 day 5 The visitors saluted the Barmy Army straight after the test ended to thank them for their support. Getty Images. 40/40 day 5 Attentions now turn to the fifth and final test in Sydney. Getty Images. In a sense, however, England's hands have been tied. Woakes could just about have batted at number 7 if England had decided to replace Moen with Crane. Alternatively, if England had gone down the two-spinner route, which it is understood was their preferred option, Woakes would have provided ballast to the lower order and an experienced head at first change. Instead, England are left with the worst of both worlds. A brittle-looking tail with Curran at number 8, and a raw-looking bowling attack with a number of potential weak links. Curran and Crane will both need to step up. Moen simply cannot bowl as poorly as he has in the series so far, and the workloads of Anderson and Broad will have to be managed with the utmost care. Root acknowledged Broad and Anderson's fatigue, but insisted both were prepared for one last effort. That was a conversation that was had with the senior guys, he admitted, making sure they're fully aware that their overs might go up slightly if things don't quite go our way. Only having 3 seamers, with it being the last game of the tour, there is no reason why they can't just leave everything out on the field. They've played in 5-match series before. They know what it's like to come into the last game. They're both up for the challenge. They're both ready to go. Woakes misses out in Sydney with a side injury. AFP. The injury to Woakes is not as severe as first feared, despite the fact that it is the same left side that kept him out of the entire South Africa series last summer. He is expected to be fit for the one-day international series and the Test tour of New Zealand, the squad for which will be announced next Tuesday night. England's recent record when playing two spinners outside Asia, and in Asia, is not great. Liam Dawson accompanied Moen for the first 2 tests of the South Africa series last summer, which resulted in 1 win, 1 defeat, but they have not beaten Australia playing 2 spinners in 11 attempts, going back over 3 decades to the 1986-87 tour. And Australia's last 5 first innings totals against an England attack with 2 specialist spinners 570, 492, 674, 408 and 632 should ring a few alarm bells. Whether Crane and Moen can go better than the likes of Graham Swan, Monty Panesar, Simon Carrigan, Eddie Hemmings, John Embury and Nick Cook, then depends on one question: will it spin? Sydney pitches have tended to in the past, a combination with the bully soil that tends to dry and crack earlier, as well as the legend couch grass they use at the SCG, a thicker grass that dries out and contributes to rougher footholds at either end of the pitch. Woakes' injury gives Moen a stay of execution. Getty. That said, Sydney pitches in recent years have tended to play pretty well for the first few days, only disintegrating towards the end of the match. The scorching weather forecast may have a say, but the SCG grounds manager Justin Groves said spin would begin to come into play from around day 3. Root, on the other hand, insisted that it would spin a lot throughout the game. England's fate could well hang on which one of them is right. England's twin spin Ashes woes. Since John Emburey and Phil Edmonds spun England to victory at Melbourne in 1986-87, their record against Australia playing two specialist spinners has been poor. They have not won in 11 attempts, losing 7 and drawing 4. More ominously still, Australia have usually taken the opportunity to pile on a massive first innings total. Adelaide 2013-14, Swan, Panesar, Australia 570-90, lost. The Oval 2013, Swan, Carrigan, Australia 492-90, drew. Cardiff 2009, Swan, Panesar, Australia 674-60, drew. Edgbaston 1993, Such Emburey, Australia 408, lost. Lords 1993, Such Tufnell, Australia 632-4D, lost. Old Trafford 1993, Such Tufnell, Australia 289, lost. Sydney 1990-91, Hemmings, Tufnell, Australia 518, drew. Trent Bridge 1989, Hemmings, Cook, Australia 602-6, lost. Old Trafford 1989, Emburey, Cook, Australia 447, lost. Sydney 1987-88, Emburey, Hemmings, Australia 214, drew. Sydney 1986-87, Emburey, Edmonds, Australia 343, lost. Melbourne 1986-87, Emburey, Edmonds, Australia 141 won.